obviously it was new for everybody out there this year. So as every coach did, we adjusted to it. I thought our guys did a nice job. We had some turnovers that we created on there. Had some times we had started with good field position. We just adapted to the rule that was placed in front of us. Yeah, both of them. I take both. I got a lot of faith in both sides of the football. Yeah, everything. You can have as many plays as you want, but you got to think about the players first. What they do well, what they exceed. What their talents are, and all those different things. So you always start with that. Formations is getting into certain formations, certain personnel groups to try to dictate what you may or may not get, and then plays is the last thing. Again, you're always thinking about in critical situations to get your guys that are big time players of football, and then you figure out what plays work against the defenses that you're going against. Yeah, just consistency. I think Stacy. He's the same guy every day. It doesn't matter what game. If someone perceives that it's a big game, if someone perceives it's whatever, they're all big games to us. And I just think it's his consistency of his daily process throughout the week to get ready. I think he's calm in critical situations. I always wondered if you put on a heart monitor on our guy, and the situation got bigger and the moment got bigger, what their heart rate would be doing. And I would imagine that Jalen's is very steady, very calm, the same way it was in the first quarter as it is in the fourth quarter, or in a 2-minute drill, or overtime. I think that's something that I always admired of Jalen. Yeah, I've been around a lot of good coaches that have helped me kind of get ready for this opportunity that I have. But like we say, anytime we start the off season and we're talking about getting new players and how we scout players and how we bring players in, which Howie obviously does a great job of, I say to our coaches, "Hey guys, you want to know what the secret to good coaching is? Get good players." And definitely have some good players around me that have helped that, obviously. I think I learned a lot of good lessons. I was fortunate to grow up with the parents that I grew up with, and so I think that I was blessed with a lot of knowledge going into this thing of life, and I think I got some pretty good information from them going into it. Yeah, it looks good. I like it. I like that vest. Is that embroidered on the vest, or is that a pin? Okay. It'd be cooler if it was embroidered on the vest, but I'm assuming you're going to change that out when the Chiefs come. There you go. This is an emotional game, and sometimes your emotions, I wouldn't say get the best of you, but you show your emotion. I think one thing that I've never really been shy about is being myself and being who I am. I think if you're not the person that you are and you're trying to lead men, that they'll see through that in a moment. It was sometimes though you get more emotional at certain times than other times. Hey, there you go. Same Bonaventure. Yeah. Obviously Jamestown has a lot of different people that are actually here in this building probably tonight. Just work hard. If you want anything you want to accomplish in this life, it doesn't come without going through adversity. and it doesn't come without really hard work. There's no such thing in this sport, that's for sure, or in any profession really, as instant gratification. That's just not the way it is. And so work hard and embrace the adversity when you go through it, because when you go through adversity, it shapes who you are. Yeah, he does such a great job of protecting the football with his fundamentals. I think he has great vision to see where the play is before it happens. There are a lot of God-given abilities that he has. Like when you talk about a running back, you talk about can this run? When you scout a running back, you say, can this guy make you miss? And he has that ability to make you miss. You say, can he hit a home run, with his long speed? He can do that. And does he have power to, if the guys are wrapping him up, can he break those tackles? So he has all those abilities, but I think he has great instincts. He can catch the ball great. He showed that he blocks really well when he's in pass protection. I just can't say enough about the teammate he is. To rush for all those yards and do all the things that he's done in his career, but then you see him celebrating the successes of his other teammates, or getting a big block to help Jalen throw the ball down the field. It's the little things that he does day in and day out that are special. And again, back to the fundamentals part of it, I just think he does a great job at taking care of the ball and his vision. Howie and I talk about everything. We go through the process, everything throughout the season, through the draft process, and I think the key to any good organization is communication, collaboration, and I got a great partner with Howie. I think that relationship's so important, the general manager, head coach relationship, and so, I can't tell you how many times that we've watched a guy and I went to his office, or he came to my office, said, "Man, you like him?" And we're like, "Yeah, we could do this, and this with him." So he's got a great eye for talent. We got to think about how he would fit as a player in our systems and our schemes, or how we're going to make something in our system scheme fit to him. And so it truly takes everybody in those situations. And like I said, a lot of people that come in to be a head coach, get with a brand new GM too. And how lucky am I that I was able to get in there with somebody that's been a GM, been there, done that, won a Super Bowl, and it's been a great partnership. Yeah, I think it's just that balance. Anywhere I've ever went, my mom and dad would say that, faith, family, football. And it is a balance, but there is a reason you said faith first, then family, then football. When football is all long and gone, it's going to be your family and God that are still there, when I'm retired or, whatever. And so it has to be in that order, and it's a balance. We put a lot of hours, obviously, into our profession, and so every moment that you have off, like sometimes one coach told me a long time ago, if you want to be a football coach, you can't have a lot of hobbies, because if you can't be a football coach, have a lot of hobbies, and have a family. And so all the moments that I don't have in football, I try to spend with my kids and my wife. And then, it's finding time to carve out for God every day, every single day. Yeah, I think when you're correcting tape or watching tape as a team, accountability comes in a couple different ways. It can be correcting the tape and saying, hey, here's what we need to do here in this situation with this fundamental. But accountability is also reinforcing the standard of what you're doing, right? And so a great form of accountability is when the player does it exactly right, and you praise them for it. And this is exactly how it's supposed to look. As far as, it's just not X's and O's, though. This game is so much more than that. I think what you see from our team is guys that are that don't want to let each other down, that truly love each other, that are selfless, that are celebrating together. And so just like you do with the fundamentals of football or the execution of a play, you try to do the same thing with the brotherhood, because at the end of the day, it's not the best groups of individuals that wins football games. It's the best teams, and the more parity there is as you go further and down, in the NFL, the more that's important.
What's up, baby? You good? How's everything?
I was trying to call you.
Really?
Yeah, because I never could get your number though.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I got one quick question.
Yeah,
for you.
come on.
How do you feel the Chiefs secondary is going to do against Devontae and AJ Brown?
Just thankful for the guys that we have on this team. When you can pair up two receivers like that, you know how it is. When you pair up two receivers, it makes it hard to take one away. When they take one away, it opens up the field for the other one. And man, they're special players. They great teammates, selfless players that through the year, when we're running for all these yards, they're the ones getting the blocks down the field, right? And it shows you what type of teammates they are, how much they want to win. And when it's one-on-one and it's games on the line, I know who I want on my team. Yeah.
Coach, I love you,
Yeah,
man.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate
Good to see
that.
you. All right. Good luck Sunday.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeff. Let me finish your question. It's not like that was the first time we'd shown something about the team. That's really after every game. So, player response was normal to, every time we show it. I think the guys like seeing those reactions, and, everyone needs to know they're loved and appreciated. So to hear your teammate talk about you in the media and sing your praises in the media, we all like to hear that. And I think that it just further built the brotherhood of this football team and the connection of this football team. I would say this, that nobody does their job better in the National Football League than Big Dom does his. He's awesome. He truly just wants to help other people, and that's just an unbelievable quality to have that makes him special. And you can hear it from all our players of what they think about Dom, that we all love him because he just is trying to help each and every. I mean, he's the definition of team and helping each other. And man, I couldn't do my job without Dom. That's for sure. The first part of the question was superstitions. Well, I don't get too much into that as far as what people's superstitions are, because to be honest with you, my superstition is to actually break superstition. So if I did this the time before, then I'm going to try to do something different. So because I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that stuff. I know that I'm probably in the minority of the coaches and players that think that way, but it just became, when I did think that way when I played, it just became too much. I got enough stuff to do, and I can't think about all the things I do every second. I guess you're right. Yeah.
Coach Sirianni, Tom Brady has received a lot of criticism this season, but one thing that no one can criticize is his perfect hair. Do you believe that he has gotten hair plugs recently?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. All I know, he was a hell of a quarterback.
Look at the evidence here. Do you think possibly before he got his broadcasting career going,
I don't know. He sure won a lot of games, and he's a hell of a quarterback. Wordle. I'm not a great speller, so I remember we were doing it as a family, and I was getting beat up pretty good by my brother-in-law and my wife, pretty much everybody in the family, so I kind of stepped away. I don't. That's their sacred space down there. I try not to go down there too often. That's their space to be by themselves. Yeah, obviously going to Mount Union and the experience I had there, I learned from one of the best coaches in the world, and I definitely, and I know that, right, that how much he prepared me for, and you never know that until you go. I knew how much I was getting ready to be a coach, but as I'm more around more and more people, I just see how special he is and was as a football coach. And yeah, that program taught me how to coach football. That program, helped me continue to grow away from my family. I leave a good family, and it continued to help me grow as a man. And that program definitely taught me how to win. We didn't lose many games at Mount Union. It was, looking back on it, it was a really special place to be. Have a lot of good friends that I met there. A lot of those friends that are in the coaching profession. Had great experience, and I guess you could say I got my degree in education, but I guess I got my master's degree at Mount Union in football. I'm sorry. Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, he's like I said, just the amount of lives that he's touched and influenced. I always think back to my dad, and myself and my two older brothers are coaches, first and foremost because of our dad, but then we learned from Coach Karras as well. And I think about all the guys that played at Mount Union that became coaches, whose dads might not have been coaches, when they did that because, they had so many good things from Coach Karras and had such a good experience playing football and won so many games. Yeah, I'm obviously a big fan of Charles Barkley. I was a big fan of him growing up. I love the NBA. Those, I can go back and look at all the cards that I have from growing up, and I got a couple pages worth of Charles Barkley, but I never coached Charles Barkley, and Charles Barkley never helped me accomplish all my goals. So Saquon is my vote. Your first question? Yeah, obviously, we're playing a very good opponent. It's gonna be a great game. We'll have to be on our stuff because of how good they are and the issues that they create. But I think anybody that's growing up a football fan, or a football player, football coach, whatever it may be, your goal is to be in the biggest stages of your sport. And to be able to win that. I think we all, think about that quite a bit as we go through our process of, becoming better coaches, becoming better players. We think about being there at the highest moment. So obviously it would mean the world. Yeah, we didn't plan that going into. He had just caught a swing pass out of the backfield. The best story I have about that is one of my brothers was up at my brother Jay was at the game, and my son had a couple of his buddies that they were in the midst of their football season, and they were talking about how they were going to do that the following Saturday in their game, and my brother stopped him. He's like, "Listen, guys, don't try that. You're not going to be able to accomplish that feat." But it was an amazing play, and like I said, it was just a swing pass into the backfield, out of the backfield, and with all the things that we talk about with Saquon, you guys have seen all the plays. You've gotten a little taste into the type of teammate he is when he kind of said he didn't want to go for the record at the Giants. And he wanted his teammates to eat, and that really, and so we all see the special player, but man, he's such a special teammate. He's such a special person, such a special leader, and he's really helped our team obviously this year in many ways, not just on the field. I don't know. He's got a lot of experience, that's for sure. He's won a lot of football games. I can't tell you how much respect I have for him and the job that he's done in multiple places in Philadelphia, in Kansas City. The tape just oozes off of how good a coach he is, right? You can watch a tape and really see a team and be like, man, this staff is a special staff, and that's how I feel when I watch them. He's been to 5, 6 Super Bowls. I don't want to short him any, so I still say he has more experience than me in that. But again, you just try to get better. In my shoes, you just try to get better every day. You can't tell me that a game in November or October where we've put everything on the line for the entire week to go out and play is just not as big, because we treat every game that way. So those big game experience we treat every game that way, and we empty the tank every week. And so you get that experience week in, week out, because we give everything we have each week to go out there and try to win each game, to put ourselves in a position to win each game. And I know this is the biggest stage there is, but we're going to go through the same process that we went through in October, November, December, September, all the way through. Yeah, was around a lot of good players there, a lot of good coaches. I think back to Frank Reich was such a big mentor to me. And it felt like he pulled me aside every day and said, hey, when you're a head coach, you're going to, you might have to deal with this, or you might have to do that. And and he would say, hey, here's how I did it, but you're going to have to pave your own way. So, and the same thing, like, you don't get to this position of being able to be a head coach without the great efforts and development of players. So, I just got a text from T.Y. Hilton the other day, and those things mean the world when you get those, because you build these special relationships with the guys. And, being around Andrew Luck and Phillip Rivers there and Jacoby Brissett and the way they went about their business to get ready. I spent a lot of time with those guys as the offensive coordinator. I think I was in every quarterback meeting, and I loved how they prepared themselves to play each game. I'm not going to go through the whole roster, but still just, special relationships with those guys, and every experience you go through prepares you for the next steps. Yeah, you have your core values that you have as a coach. We talk a lot about tough, detailed, and together, and accountability. And that's your core. That's who you are. So you may change how you talk about them, and you may change how you teach them, but it's still what you want the culture of your team to be. And so when we think about when we kind of talked about, hey, here are our core values, it was what was the common denominator of all the good teams we've been around. And really the truths of football are the tougher teams win. More detailed teams win. More together teams win. And so you're constantly just pouring everything into that. Like I said, the way you go about developing them, practicing them, those things may change a little bit, but it's still at your core values. Yeah, I won't get into too much of that, obviously, but a lot goes into it. I think you heard somebody, I don't know if you were here yet, but someone asked me about what players, formations, plays means. It always comes down to the players, and what makes you be able to be aggressive in those moments is the faith that you have in those players that are out in the field trying to execute those plays. And we got some special players to be able to do that, and which allows me to be aggressive in those moments. But every moment's not equal, every moment's not the same, and you got to play it that way. every season there's growth that happens. You spend as much time as you possibly can in the off season, getting everybody on the same page, thinking the same way. But there's obviously things that pop up when you go through training camp that, and OTAs that will pop up. And so there's a learning curve, but you try to make sure that you take care of as much as you can in your off season programs and the time that you spend together. Yeah, special guys that have stepped in and played huge roles for us. And they got special guys leading them. They got Slay, who, there's not a lot of guys that will just take a guy under their wing and just lead them and teach them everything that they need to do. Hey, Ike. And Slay's done that, and we've just gotten some great leadership from that room. And the whole, Chauncey's done that, Reed's done that. All those guys have done. Avante Maddox has done an unbelievable job of that. And so, they're obviously they're special talents. But I'm even more impressed by the teammates that have helped them become, the players that they are. And I think one of the best things that you can say about these guys is they're unfazed by the magnitude of things. Both of them just so calm, cool under pressure and under big moments. Kellen is a great leader, great communicator, tireless worker, great person. He's got a lot of great qualities about him that, he'll be fantastic. He's been fantastic as our offensive coordinator. And, you go from the offensive coordinator leading the entire offense to the entire team, but you're still in charge of 30 guys there on the offensive side. So it's a good preview of the type of head coach you'll be. And I just think, I can't say enough good things about, his football knowledge, his calmness in intense situations. He's just got a lot of great leadership qualities that, and I'm hoping I get to keep them. But we'll see as this plays itself out. Yeah, one of the first things we talk about as far as our core values go is, it's tough, detailed, together. And when we talk about together, we really believe that it's the best teams that win, not the best groups of individuals. And you talk about love. Love will let you push a little bit harder for a teammate than you thought you would be willing to go. And so it's that. I think that's as biblical as it gets, right? And so it's the love of one another that you're trying that these guys continue to work at, because, and you hear our players talk and you see our players celebrate together. You can tell that our team truly loves each other. And I think that's pretty special quality to have. There's a couple that I remember, and I had an Anthony Carter jersey for the Vikings, number 81, and then I had a Dan Marino jersey, and there's a picture of one of my best friends from high school, Tommy Langworthy. He was wearing a jersey. I can't remember which one he was wearing, and I was wearing this Dan Marino one with some pads. So that's my first memory, although my dad was a high school football coach, so I imagine I had some of the Southwestern Trojan jerseys that I had wore a bunch. Yeah, I think someone's asked me this before, as far as when we started the playoffs. They asked me about the inexperience that we had in big games. Well, and my response to that was, well, you tell Cooper DeJean that in the Iowa State game that's not a big game, and every bit of the biggest moment of his life at that time. And so it's all relative. Just because the outside public perceives a game bigger than another person does, that doesn't mean that the people playing in that game don't picture it that way. So going to the Indiana IUP Slippery Rock rivalry, that was as big a game as I had been in, because it was that game and it was against a heated rivalry. So all those experiences help you when you get to this point, because you've been through so many big games year in, year out. Because again, it's all relative to what you're the one in that moment. Not everybody else is in that moment. So in 2006, 2007, 2008, IUP Slippery Rock, to me, it was just as big as Kansas City versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, that's a special group of guys. Our guys up front. They're known as one of the best offensive lines in the world, and they're as advertised. We got just so many good players throughout. Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson on the outside are able to, be able to pass protect, but also they can do it all. They can and pave lanes. Our guys in the interior, Landon and Cam and Mackay. I mean, those are some big guys that are moving guys against their will. And what I think's been really impressive and what you get so excited about as a coach is the contributions. You never want somebody you're always bummed when somebody goes down and gets hurt, but you're always excited for the opportunities of the guys that get to step in and play. And have we gotten really good contributions from guys. Jordan Mailata was out for a little bit, and Fred Johnson stepped in and played great. Landon missed some time, and Tyler Steen was able to come in and play really good. And Jack Driscoll, all these guys have just given us so many good reps, and that's what happens on good teams, is that you get contributions from everybody throughout the week, throughout the year, etc. Hey, man. Good. How about you, brother? We're back. Yeah, as you go through any game in the NFL that you play, any game really that I've been coaching, as you play, you kind of you think about the things that you did well. Then you think about the things that you didn't do well and how you can improve on those things. And so that was something that we went through when we got back from Phoenix. Hey, here's what we did well. Here's what we didn't do well. And you try to get better from those things. And I won't get into the things that were changed through the daily organization of a Super Bowl week, but there's some things that we're doing a little bit different, to try to get better from our last experience. So. I'm gonna be probably staying in the hotel the whole week. You don't get too much wrapped up in all that stuff. There's always going to be critics, and you try to control what you can control. This is the profession that I chose, and I understand that there's definitely going to be critics, and there's a lot of different ways to do things, and yeah, no worries. Thanks for the apology. Yeah. Thank you. Say that one more time. Yeah, obviously he's a phenomenal football coach that has a ton of experience and won a ton of games, and it's an honor to be on the field coaching against him. You can see on the tape how good of a coach he is, right? I like to say the tape oozes off that you can see how good of a staff he has, how good of players he has, how good of a coach he is. So a lot of respect there. Yeah, I think it has to start with my dad, who was one of my coaches growing up. Taught me a lot about this game and why I wanted to get involved in coaching. He'd be number one, that's for sure. And then, I've had a lot of good mentors along the way that, like you said, that really poured a lot into me to help me accomplish my goals and my dreams. Larry Karras at Mount Union, Frank Reich. There's just been Todd Haley, who gave me an opportunity to get into the NFL. Brian Dable, believe it, he was the offensive coordinator and I was his receiver coach. He taught me a lot about football. Ken Wisenhunt. Anthony Lynn gave me an opportunity. Just so grateful for all those guys. And I talk about my dad, and then I just learned a lot from my brothers, who are both football coaches. And grew up in a family full of coaches. So I know you asked for one. I said my dad, but then I gave you a lot of other ones. How you doing? Yeah, that's a good question. There was moments I had that I was a Browns fan, and I loved Eric Metcalf. He was awesome. And then the Browns left, and then my whole family was Steeler fans. And so, I really like Cordell Stewart, as a Steeler fan. I grew up in the Buffalo area, but I wasn't necessarily a Bills fan, but I always liked Andre Reed and Thurman Thomas. So a lot of offensive guys there that I just rattled off. So you're welcome. Yeah, obviously a very passionate fan base that we have, and we got to play a lot of games in that stadium this postseason, 3 games there, and all the energy that they gave us to help us get to this moment, you always want to repay that back, and I think that's what it would mean, just how much they helped us get to this moment with the energy of the crowd and the noise, and I know they'll be here, loud as can be. It'd be nice to be able to pay them back with a parade. Our job is to help them get better with their fundamentals, put them in positions to succeed, and then give them opportunities to develop their game. And that's what we try to do. You try to give them opportunities with, different periods that you have of practice and stuff like that. But our job as coaches is just to help them, achieve their goals and get them better. And sometimes that's through praising them when they do it right, and sometimes that's through hard coaching when they need to change. But it's always about, here's the standard, and really never letting anything slip of, here's the standard. And if the standard's met, let's go. If the standard's not met, we'll correct it, and being kind of a bulldog about it. Who do you think? Yeah, that's probably be the guy I would have said. And so, yeah, Slay's up there. I'm trying to give you a guy that's funny as a coach. Vic. Yeah, he's got a good person. Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Thank you. You want me to read one? I'm going to read them. Oh, yeah. We got a lot of fans there? Oh, sick. Look at that. That's cool. Thank you. Say that. I'm sorry. Say that one more time. Yeah, what you try to do is every practice and every rep to be as competitive as it can possibly be. So when you get into games, you've been there, you've went through that process. And so, and I get that there's going to be a lot of people here yelling and screaming, but we try to create that as much as we possibly can through the competitive atmosphere. When you have some of the guys that we have on this football team, you know, when Josh Sweat goes against Lane Johnson, you know, those two guys are going against two of the best players in the NFL and each other. And so that helps you get moments ready for moments like this with how you go through practice because of the talent they're playing against and with the intensity that they're playing with. You know, I would say just growing up in Jamestown, New York, which is close to Buffalo. Probably, you know I had watched the Super Bowls probably always growing up, but the one I would remember the most is that Giants versus the Bills Super Bowl. And then all the Bills Super Bowls following that. And those were obviously really good teams, those Bills teams. And I've been, you know, all my friends were kind of, when I got a chance to work with Frank Reich and Pete Metzelaars, I think they were a little bit jealous that I was working with their childhood heroes. And so I think that would be the first one just because of the proximity to where I grew up. I'm sorry? Yeah, bye week's such an important part of your process of going through that and figuring out the things you do well, figuring out the things you don't do so well, and trying to perfect those things. And so it's a grind through the bye week. You know, it's not an off week by any means. It's an opportunity for you to grow, and we're constantly asking our players to grow. So we, you know, in those moments, we're trying to grow as much as we can to help us. And obviously, you know, we've been on a little streak since then. So yeah, that's how. Yeah, I don't know him, but I admire what he's done. I'll listen to some press conferences, and I think, you know, I always like how he carries himself, and obviously he's done a phenomenal job of coaching, winning a world championship there, and but I constantly try to use other coaches from different sports because coaching is coaching, and I'll try to use other guys from other sports as much as I possibly can. You know, this off season, I had the privilege to be able to talk to, you know, Jay Wright's been a good mentor towards me, who always has given me good nuggets and information. This off season, I was able to talk to Rick Pitino, and man, he gave me some really good things, and really admired the things that that I learned from him. Dawn Staley came and talked to us. And so constantly trying to learn from different coaches. I just happen to really like basketball, so I just rattled off 3 basketball coaches. Yeah, so, but no, admire the heck out of what he's done and early in his career. Oh, yeah.
So you are greatest honor.
This is awesome. Yeah, but don't slime me.
You can wear it.
Yeah, don't not sliming me.
No, you're good. I got umbrellas, we're good.
My kids are going to love this.
What shows do they watch?
My wife doesn't let them watch a lot of television. I'm going to tell you that. But they do like the NFL show where you recap the week.
That's the show.
That's the show you're on?
That's the show.
Oh, there you go. We love the show.
You got major cookie points this week, brownie points this
That's
week.
the show. That's the show we love.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the
I
show.
love that.
Yeah,
Great.
my kids love that. They love football. They love the slime. They love the little things that are at the bottom of the screen and the things you have to count to get to. Hey, how many times did you see this character or anything like that?
Oh my God.
We love it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And okay, so which one of your players are you gonna slime if you win the game? You can give multiple because you're the coach.
I can slime anybody.
Anyone.
You know, I would actually do the slime like you kind of would with the water bottles after the game, and just try to get a little bit on everybody. You know.
You have a little. You want to
because
preserve it.
you know you can't. I can't sit here and say this is my favorite guy and I only slime him. It doesn't work. It's like your kids. You love them all the same.
Yeah. Okay, so what is your energy like going into this week? What's your game plan of attack for this?
Energy's high as always. You know, you always have to lead the room and be high with the energy. And man, I love football, and so it's not real hard to do that because you get to go to work every day doing something that you love with the guys that you love, and so every day is, every day is awesome for me.
Yeah. And what are the keys to success for all the kids watching, even your kids at home? I'm sure they're not going to listen. I don't listen to my father very much, but other kids at home, what's your keys to success?
Yeah, there's no such thing as instant gratification in any profession that we chase, especially football. It takes hard work every day. There can be off days of it, and then it surely takes embracing adversity. And because you're not shaped of who you are unless you go through adversity, unless you get better from that adversity, and ultimately you have to embrace it. So the hard times you go through are going to shape you who you are if you allow it to.
Yeah, and I got one more quick question. What is going to be your pregame meal that's going to give you strength to win?
Yeah, I don't eat before games.
I've heard players. I don't know how you do this as a coach. You don't even have like a granola bar.
Don't. Nerves, and I just rather not because I don't want to throw it up on the sideline.
That would be funny.
Yeah.
And finally, slime or Gatorade?
Well, I guess I have to pick slime, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, slime. That's easy.
And since you love the show, can you look into the camera for me and just say, "This is NFL Slime Time"? You can hold the mic if you want.
This is NFL Slime Time. Are you saying it at the same time?
You want to do it?
1, 2, 3. This is NFL Slime Time.
Thank you so much.
I get to keep this, right?
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
Show it to your kids.
Good to
Thank
see
you so much.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, good to
Thank
see
you.
you.
Good luck.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
What's your favorite Kendrick Lamar song?
Ooh. Give me some options. Yeah, I've heard that, but there was one that one of his early ones. That's the one. That's still on my music, whatever. Yeah, so I listen to that. Say that again. Burrito. Awesome, unbelievable experience. That was the first international game that I was able to be a part of, and the atmosphere was awesome. The crowd was awesome. The people were awesome. What a great experience. You'd have to give me some examples. I don't think I do. Let me take this off. I'm keeping this though. Yeah, just the detail it takes in the winning consistently, and the demand it takes to win consistently, and just everything I learned how to coach the game from Larry Karras and the special friends that I have that I still have to this day that were my teammates and coaching staff mates. I think it all depends on the topic. Sometimes I'm the one talking a lot, and sometimes Howie's the one talking a lot. Hey, how you doing? And sometimes Mr. Laurie's the one talking a lot. But I think at the end of the day, good organizations communicate, good organizations collaborate, and good organizations talk through everything and try to prepare themselves for every situation that they can possibly be in. Well, again, when you're the coordinator or you're the position coach, you might not be in quite as many of those conversations, but you're in more of the ones with the coaching staff. So I think, yeah, as a coaching staff whole, for sure, that it's like, hey, the coach might get something that they discuss with the GM and the owner, and then you discuss some of those things as a staff. But like I said, any successful team I've been on or successful organization, communication's a huge part of it.
Coach, you had the very high level chess match with the coach staff before in the past. His offense is obviously different now with the same ball part of the more dynamic rushing attack. How do you plan to counteract and have that chess match with coach staff? He dials up those, obviously exotic blitzing. What's that look like for
Yeah, ton of respect for Coach Spags. Has been a great coordinator for a long time in this league. Always a battle every time we have to go against him because he creates so many challenges. At the end of the day, you have to be ready to play your rules. You have to be ready to adjust because he's going to naturally show you some stuff that you haven't, and you got to be on the same page and communicate. Yeah, you probably see some of those clips of me getting excited, but he's an exciting player that brings a ton to our team. Yeah. Yeah, that's the price you pay sometimes for success. You know, I know Sean McVay goes through it obviously a lot. You know, it's just the nature of this when you have some successful teams, and you know, every situation, you know, there's concepts and there's things that are staples that are player. You know, it's always about the players first, the things that they do well. That have carried over from year in, year out. But it's also an opportunity to learn and embrace the change and learn and find different ways to do things. And, you know, it's worked out pretty well this year. I'm sorry? I guess yellow. Yeah. No. Oh, is he in a blanket? What? No. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Hey, I'm a big fan. Yeah, I know who you are. Say what you asked me again. I don't know. I know you're a heck of a football player, though, and I think you know, we were talking. Somebody and I were talking about you the other day. You got a lot of charisma. It seemed like a really good leader. Were you around Joe Casper? He talks highly of you. Dave Borgonzi talks very highly of you. So everybody I've ever talked to sings your praises, and obviously your play speaks for itself. You got a lot of respect for you, man. Thank you. Yeah, I think it always comes down to, I think the truths of football, our core values that we talk about every day are toughness, detailed together, and being accountable. And that's the truths of football, whether we played in Pee Wee football, you know, the toughest team's going to win. The most detailed team that takes care of the football is going to win. Who tackles better is going to win. Who catches the ball better is going to win. And it's not the best groups of individuals that wins. It's the best teams that win. And those are the truths of football all the way through. And so it's awesome when your team comes together that way. I think you can see when you watch the Eagles, you truly see a bunch of guys that love each other and they don't want to let each other down. You can see that through the way they celebrate together. You can see that through the way they stick up for each other. You can hear that when they talk about each other to the media. And that's what you're most proud of as a team, as a coach, because those are the things that result winning and losing. Obviously, you go through that process every game you play. Hey, here are the things we did well. Here are the things we didn't do well. How are we going to get better from those things? And you do that week in, week out. But the thing that the NFL, as you know, challenges you with is multiple different schedules. You got short weeks. You got long weeks. You got Thanksgiving Day games. You got Christmas games. You got Black Friday games. You got the third time you play an opponent, the second time you play an opponent, the Super Bowl. So I think it's important that anytime you come off of a unique schedule, if you can master those unique schedules, right, and give yourself the best chance to win week in, week out, right, that's a big part of it because there's so many games that go into that. So it was the same process when we came back from Phoenix of, hey, what will we do different? Oh, we do this different. And so there's a handful of things, you know, based off of walkthrough and practice and meals that we're doing a little bit different this time to try to give us ourselves the best chance to win. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I can catch him, throw him to me. There you go. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Hey, a lot of respect. Thank you. Yeah. Shoot, I don't remember exactly, but it was a good moment. That's for sure. He's brought so much to this football team. Like I said, the play speaks for itself. It's all the other things that makes him special. He's a special teammate. He's a special leader. He's a special person, special worker. I just can't tell you enough good things about him. And I think if you just watch the tape, you're in awe. But I know all of us as his teammates, his coaches, are in awe of the things that he does every single day to help lead this football team. Yeah, you know, you've seen a lot of them. the things that I saw in practice, whether they was open to the public or not open to the public, you saw kind of what I was talking about. Like, you know, there's so many good runs that he's had. I mean, he had one on this field for whatever 70 yards that helped us win the Saints game. He has the one where he jumps over the guy backwards. He has the one where he starts the NFC Championship game with the long run. I mean, I could go on and on. Yeah, he's just a special player, and that's really how I was talking about in training camp, and the things that you see in practice will eventually be able to see. The world will be able to see because how you practice is going to be how you play, and man, he's special.